In this video series, we're going to create a custom scrollbar widget in Python Tkinter. So if you look over here to the right here, we have our scrollbar here, and it works just like the Tkinter standard scrollbar. But the scrollbar consists of two parts. We have the track here and the thumb right here. So in the first part of the series, we're going to focus on creating the track. So you're going to want to open up a new .py file that's dedicated to just your scrollbar code. And so we're going to use the canvas widget to draw the scrollbar. So we're going to import it into the file. So we'll do from Tkinter import canvas. Next, we're going to create the scrollbar class and have it inherit from the canvas. So class scrollbar canvas. Okay. Then in the init, we're going to have it take a parent parameter, an orient parameter, which is vertical by default, and a keyword arguments. So we'll do define init, pass in self, parent, orientation, which is going to be vertical by default, and then keyword arguments right here. Okay. Now inside the init, we're going to create a dictionary that stores some default options for the scrollbar. So we'll do self.options equals to an empty dictionary. And then we'll also go ahead and give it a background key and a color value, which will serve as the track's default value. So do background. Now do a hex color here. Let's see, we'll do that. After that, we'll do a thickness key with a value of 12, which determines how large the scrollbar is. So we'll do thickness and set that equal to 12. Okay. After that, we're going to update the options dictionary using the keyword arguments. This allows you to pass in a background color for the scrollbar when initializing it if you don't like the default color. So down here, we'll do self.options.update quarks. Okay. Now we're going to store the orientation parameter as an attribute so that we can reference that later on. So now we'll do self.orientation is equal to orientation. Okay. Then based off of the widget's orientation, we're going to use the thickness to set either the scrollbar's width or height. It'll be the scrollbar's width if vertical and its height if horizontal. So we'll start this off with an if statement. So if orientation is equal to vertical, size arguments is equal to a dictionary with a width. That's not a dictionary. Width with the value of self.options thickness. Now we have to do the same for the horizontal orientation with else, size arguments, height is self.options thickness. So remember that the scrollbar inherits from Tkinter's canvas class, so we have to use super init for it to have access to the canvas's attributes and methods. So down here we're going to do call super init right here. Okay. So in the super init, we pass in the parent and the background color. So parent background is equal to self.options background. And then by default, the canvas has a white border around it, so we have to pass in highlight thickness and set it equal to 0 to prevent that from showing. So we do highlight thickness, if I can spell it, thickness is equal to 0. Okay. And now finally, we set either the width or the height based on the scrollbar's orientation. So we'll do size, Mr. args, like that. So with Tkinter standard widgets, you can change their options by using the .config method. We're going to allow the same thing with the custom scrollbar by creating a config method and updating the scrollbar's options. So down here, we do define config, pass in self and keyword arguments. And the first thing we're going to do is self.options.update and pass in the keyword arguments. So if you're changing the scroll bar's background color, we'll have to update it. And in order to do that, we'll do if background in keyword arguments. We'll do self.configure background is equal to self.options background. Okay. And if you're changing the scroll bar's thickness, we have to update the width or the height. So we'll do if thickness is in the keyword arguments, and then if self.orientation is equal to vertical, we have to do self.config width is equal to self.options thickness, and then we'll do else self.config height is equal to self.options thickness. Okay. Create a test file that looks like this and place it in the same directory as your scroll bar file. So the first thing we're going to do is import the scroll bar at the top. So we'll do import scroll bar like that. And then we'll initialize and display the scroll bar similar to how you would with Tkinter standard widgets. So underneath root here, we'll do sb is equal to scrollbar. And then we're going to pass in the root as its parent. Now we have to display it. We'll display it with the path method. We'll do fill is equal to y, and side is equal to right. We'll also create a horizontal scroll bar by passing in an orientation parameter and setting it to horizontal. So we'll do scrollbar1 is equal to scrollbar. Make the root its parent, but this time we're going to set the orientation to horizontal. Okay. Now again, we have to display it with the pack method, and we'll do fill is equal to x. Fill is equal to x, and we'll do side is equal to bottom. Okay. So now let's run this code and see what we get here. Alrighty, so it may be a little hard to see, but if you look up here to the right, we have our vertical scroll bar, the track here. And then down here at the bottom, we have the horizontal, down here at the bottom, we have the horizontal scroll bar. Okay. So let's change the vertical track's color and thickness by passing in a background color and a thickness. So underneath root here, we'll do background is equal to light blue. And then underneath that, we'll do thickness and set it to 20, okay? And now let's do the same for the horizontal scroll bar, but we're going to do things a little bit differently, okay? So to change the horizontal scroll bar's color and thickness, we're going to use the config method instead. So we'll do scrollbar1.config, and we'll do background equal to light pink, and then we'll do thickness is equal to 20 as well. All right, so now let's save and run that. Oh, I forgot something here. Bottom, where's that at? Oh, accidentally deleted that part. Okay, so now let's run it. So as you can see, the vertical scroll bar is now light blue and it's a little bit bigger, and then the horizontal one is pink. Probably also notice that the horizontal track's thickness hasn't changed, and that's because of how Tkinter's geometry managers, the pack, grid, and place work. So if you try to change the scroll bar's thickness by using the config method, it won't work. So make sure you pass in the thickness when initializing the scroll bar. So we're going to go ahead and fix that right now. So instead of putting thickness or passing thickness into the config method, we'll do thickness is equal to 20 up here. Okay. All right, and so now as you can see, everything is fixed now. So in the next video, we'll add the thumb and make the scroll bar interactive. If you want the complete version of the scroll bar, you can get it from my free TK widgets repo. I also have a more advanced version with animations and hover effects available on my Gumroad. Links to both are in the description. Thank you for watching.